Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from the Department of Ag Trade Consumer Protection is Laura Sutherland. And Lara, what do we got on the docket today? We're talking a little bit about government imposter scams. This is going to be it's a very interesting one.
Yes. So we often talk about important programs that are put out by the government means that scammers are going to come and try to capitalize on that, right? So we have a lot of important programs being lifted up by the government right now because of the pandemic. And scammers are trying to take advantage of all of those and all of our fear around the pandemic. So one particular issue is the contact tracing. There are people from the government contacting you if you have been infected or tested positive for COVID-19. We usually say the government's not going to call you out of the blue. Well, in this instance, they are. They are legitimate government contact tracers calling you out of the blue. Well, not out of the blue, but because you've been infected, to find out about who you may have exposed. And so it's a super important aspect of getting control of this virus. What the government's going to ask you is your name, your address, your date of birth. They're going to want to know when you've got infected, who you've been around. They're going to give you some suggestions about quarantine. Here's what they're not going to do. They're not going to ask you for personal identifying information or any money. So if you have somebody calling you suggesting they're a contract tracer, and then they ask you for your social security number, or they ask you for your bank account or your credit card, that is a scam. And you should hang up immediately and ideally report that to DATCP so we can get on top of that. But the government is going to ask you just basic information about your ethnicity, your location, your name, and your health, because that's what they're trying to figure out.
Yeah, would any, I guess the question to follow up here would be, how could you verify that the contract or the contact tracer is legit? And I know it's a tip that you actually guys have said before, I believe. But would you recommend hanging up, calling them back, or what would you say would be the best protection for you to verify they are who they are?
You ask them a series of questions to verify who they are, and I think the tip off is if it's a scammer, they're going to hang up, or they're going to start asking you for information that you shouldn't be giving out, like your social security number. So you can push them to verify who they are, get their callback number, get their name, get their ID, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, if it's a scammer, they're trying to get information that you shouldn't be giving. So that's really going to be your tip off. If you're feeling uncomfortable, you could call back DHS and say you think you've been contacted by a tracer and you want to be helpful, and then give them information and initiate that call yourself. But we encourage you to do that. These contact tracing efforts are really important in terms of getting control of the virus. So we definitely want folks to engage with these legitimate contact tracers when they call, if they are in fact legitimate.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good information there. Another piece that we did see come up was the mask. We have the mask order here in Dane County to wear a mask, but COVID mask exemption cards, we saw that starting to surface up. Are these legit or not?
There is no government issued mask exemption card. Those don't exist. So if somebody's asking you to pay for one, don't do it. It won't get you anywhere except for maybe a good chuckle at a cocktail party someday. But they don't exist. They don't work. They're not accepted, and they are a scam. So we encourage people not to fall for that, and we encourage people to wear masks when they're in public, like the health advisors and that are suggesting.
Absolutely. One that we've talked about in the past, and now with schools, well, colleges specifically, if you're heading into college, and the student loans, what do we have on that front for safety tips here?
So again, that is a 6-month forbearance program on certain federal loans. Really great resource that the government is giving student borrowers. What's important to know about this in terms of scams is you don't have to do anything. You don't have to fill out an application. You don't have to give any information to people. You don't have to pay any money. These loans that are federal loans that are eligible for this program are automatically put in forbearance, and the interest is not accruing for a 6-month period. That started in March and it will extend to September. So the thing you should know is if somebody calls you out of the blue and says, there's this great program from the CARES Act, from the federal government, fill out this application to get this resource. That is a scam. You don't need to fill out an application, or you don't need to pay any money. So anybody who's reaching out to you in an email, on a phone call, and a pop-up suggesting that you should apply and provide information to get this resource is a scam. The other caveat I want to say, though, is not all federal loans are covered. So while you don't have to do anything to be eligible for this resource, we encourage you to call your loan servicer to find out which ones are eligible and which ones aren't, because the ones that aren't eligible, you need to continue to pay. And private loans, so if you have a combination of federally subsidized and unsubsidized loans, and you have private loans, those private loans are not part of this program. That said, there are servicers that are extending this relief to private loans as well. So our message to consumers that have student loans is there are a lot of good resources out there, and some of them are being put in forbearance and don't have interest. You should call your servicer to find out if you're eligible. And actually, I have a 1-800 number at Ascendium. It's a free, it's free information that I can give you. I don't have it at my tips right now, unfortunately, but I can give you that 800 number. It's a free hotline. Consumers can call and learn all about the CARES Act relief that they can get for student loans. And I'll get that to you so you can get it to your listeners.
Hey, don't worry. We're going to put it up on the screen right now so people can see that here. That's the best part of television, is we can fit that in there. So no worries on that front. Wrapping up here real quick on the debt collection scam. Not surprised here that picking on the vulnerable, but what are you getting reports of on this specific scam?
Yeah, so you might be getting a call, official letter that looks like your correct name or address or social security number. Often fake debt collectors say they're with a law firm or a government agency to try to legitimize their request. Or they're with the FTC or the IRS. They sometimes threaten that they're going to arrest you if you don't respond to them. The truth is there's no legitimate reason for someone to be asking you to wire money or recharge a money card in order to pay your debts. So if you're unsure about whether there is a legitimate debt collection when you're pursued by one of these debt collection letters, look up the official number on the government agency and call them to determine whether or not you have legitimate debt. But certainly if someone's threatening you with jail or arrest, that is not a legitimate means for debt collection. It's illegal. And frankly, some debt collectors do that. But when you do have a debt, and that would be illegal too. So there's both the scam debt collection, and then there's the illegitimate form of debt collection. If someone is threatening you in that way, you should file a complaint. You can file a complaint with the Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection. You can also file a complaint with the Department of Financial Institutions, who enforces the debt collection law. And they can let you know what your rights are in that regard.
Lara, thank you so much for all the information. Hit up the website and check in with you guys. There's so many great resources that you all have out there. So make sure that you check in. And where can they find all those resources at?
They can find them. They can call our 1-800 number at 1-800-422-7128, or they can go to our website where we have a lot of fact sheets. And that is DATCP.wi.gov.
Lara, thank you so very much. Stay safe out there, and we'll check back in with you real soon.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Jeremy. I really appreciate it.
Glad to have you on board here, and great information. Yeah, check out the website. They've got a lot of great resources out there and to keep you protected. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.